I'm sorry about that. My son walked in and I had to handle the situation because I'm so sorry. Let me just continue from where I left off. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna get a hang of this and know how to pause it instead of stopping it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, just bear with me. Um, so after that, we left to Puerto Rico. Me and Lila left to Puerto Rico. Went there with my mom and the kids and got them back. I stayed over there and I was stayed there, whatever. Um, like my kids, like I put my kids in therapy in Puerto Rico. I had to go to like it was just a lot. But I vowed when I went there that I wasn't never gonna leave them again. That I wasn't gonna let the enemy get all to to to, to get me to that point like I was. But and I didn't till this day. I don't leave them. That's something. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't even think I really truly forgave myself for doing. Maybe that's something I need to do. Yeah. Um so um so I was over there, didn't want to stay there. Like I needed to come back to Pennsylvania. Like I needed to come back. I couldn't live in Puerto Rico. Like I just couldn't do it. So I was talking to this guy that I met on Facebook and we were talking. Listen, I'm going to be real. We were talking and he was older than me, but like we were like just talking every day. Like he spoke to my parents. Like we were just talking. And like I told him like my situation and like how I wanted to come back and blah 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 whatever. So he sent me the money to come back, me and my kids. So he paid for me and my kids to come back. Um but when I got here, like he was supposed to pick me up from the airport. We were supposed to stay with him, but it did not work out like that. It did not because as soon as the day that I was leaving, like he started acting like possessive, like it like it was crazy. Like I now know like the Lord was just like, no, like you are not gonna go stay with this person. Like, are you crazy? Like, no. But whatever. So kind of like left that and we um at this time I think this is when because me and my dad always had an off and on relationship. No, I didn't even say. Guys, I'm so sorry. Listen, I'm sorry. That didn't happen. We get back. I went to my brother's house and I stayed at my brother's house and we stayed there. And then basically, me and my 4 children were jumping from house to house. I didn't know at times where we were even gonna go because it wasn't just like it was just me and a baby. It was me and my 4 kids. But I had vowed that I was not gonna be separated from them. That I was not gonna leave them, and I didn't. So they just thought we were just sleeping at people's houses. They didn't know better. But I, on the other hand, was like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Where are we gonna go? Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So like we stayed at my brother's house, couldn't stay there. We stayed at my friend's house, my cousin's house. Like I just want to thank those people who the Lord put in my path that helped me, my kids in those times. Like I just want to thank you guys so much because literally like I don't know where we would be if it wasn't for you guys. Like I'm at a point, like I was at the point where I was trying to get, like I'm like determined to get my life back to how it was. I'm determined to make a life for my children. Like I was determined and it was a struggle. There was this guy from school that when I was in elementary school and he was like a teacher or something there. Like, I don't even know how I got hooked up with him. Not in that way, but like got hooked up, and he was helping me. He put me and my kids in a hotel room, and well, he didn't. He had like, I guess, there's services that he got us into that paid for the hotel room. So me and my kids stayed there for a couple of weeks, and the bus would come and pick them up at the hotel. And this is when Joel was doing his drugs or whatever, and there was a point where he actually came and stayed with us because he was going back to Puerto Rico to get off of the drugs and to get better. So I think it was like 2 days he came and stayed with us at the hotel, and then he left. He went to Puerto Rico. And then there was this one time where we had to leave. We had to leave the place. Like, it was done. Like, our time there was done. We stayed there for a couple of weeks, and I called my aunt to see if I could stay with her, and she said yeah, she was gonna come pick me up, but she lived in Jersey. And then my dad was just like, no, well, you can stay with us. Okay. So we stayed with him, and I guess he's bipolar. I don't want to say it, but like, whatever. We stayed with him for a couple of weeks, and then he deals with houses. So he put us in a house that had nothing, no furniture, no nothing. We stayed there. And I had put my name on a list for a shelter, to go into a shelter, and staying at this place. And then as I was staying at this place, this is where I met my son's father, while I was staying at one of my dad's properties. And met him, and I think it was like the third day where my dad said, you need to leave. You can't stay here anymore. Yeah, kicking me and my 4 kids out of that place. But that same day that he kicked me out, I got a call from the shelter saying that they had a place for me and my kids to go, that it was our turn, we were up. Our God is an on-time God. When I tell you he was with me every step of the way, everything I went through, he was there. He was there. He was there. So they called us that day. My dad said we had to leave, and I'm talking to my son's father before I had him, my son's father, and I'm just telling him everything. Like, listen, I'm getting kicked out. I have nowhere to go. I'm going to the shelter. And he tried to have me and the girl stay with him at his house. He had his own place at the time. And I said no. Like, well, I actually thought about it, because I'm like, oh, I don't want to take my kids to the shelter. Like, I don't want to take them to the shelter. And I'm sorry. And so I then thought to myself, like, no, like, I need to stop depending on men, and I need to do this myself. I need to do this, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to the shelter. So I told him, I'm like, no, thank you, but like, I need to do this for myself. So we went to the shelter, me and my girls. But the Lord knew what he was doing when he sent my son's father in our lives, because he went there every single day after work. He would come on the days that he had off to spend with us. He was the only one that came and saw us, like, the only one. No one else came and saw us. Like, so, and the things that we saw in this shelter, my kids were exposed to. Like, there was a one time where we weren't allowed to hold each other's kids. Like, we weren't allowed to pick anybody's kids up, like, and hold anyone else's kids. And this lady, I felt like I was in a drug house. This lady had a baby boy, and her husband were there, but we were in the women's section. Now, of course, her husband was in the men's section. And she's sleeping with the baby in her arm, and the baby just drops to the floor. And like, I run and rush to pick him up. And she just wakes up. Oh my God, what happened? I'm like, you are high and you dropped your baby. Like, and then there was a point where, yes, Ellie saw a needle on the floor. And she's like, Mommy, what is this? How do you explain that? I'm like, oh, I don't even remember what I said. I don't even remember what I said. Like, I remember being in there, and they were redoing the showers in the bathroom. So they had a trailer that was like a bathroom outside of the place, and it was disgusting. Like, I always remember I always had a Clorox bottle, and I always sprayed. And I made sure my kids wore sandals. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, hold on, Pop. 1 second. So I made sure they wore sandals while they took a shower. They didn't understand why. I just had to make sure. So we stayed there for like a month, and they were helping us with housing and getting a place. And I would see this lady, her name was, I don't want to say names, but she was helping me to get like on the list for like Section 8, and she was going to put me in a program to where it would help me get it quicker and whatever. But there was an incident where I got in an argument with somebody in there, and you weren't allowed to leave this place. Like, if you were at the shelter, you couldn't leave, because if you left and you slept out, that means you have somewhere to stay, and you couldn't stay there anymore. So this incident, I was like, told my son's father, like, you need to come pick us up, because I'm not staying here. I need to leave, like, and I'll come back tomorrow. It was a weekend, so like the main people weren't there, like the people who run it, I'll say that. So he picked us up, and then when I came back that Monday, the lady said, you have to leave. You left and you can't stay here. So, but she goes, I'm going to do something for you. She's like, I'm going to keep you on this list, because we're supposed to take you off. But I'm going to keep you on this list so you can get your housing quicker. So I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we left, went with my son's father to his mom's house. We lived in the basement. We soon later got, he got us a place to stay, an apartment. We stayed there, and we lived there, and the bus would come all the way to Philly to pick the kids up to take them to Warminster, to where their school was. And they did this every morning, take that long ride back and forth. It was, I remember I had to have an address in Warminster, like where I used to live, for this housing situation. And I didn't have an address. I couldn't tell listen. So long story short, the day I called the lady to say, listen, this social worker that I'm working with said I can use his address, that, like, listen, I don't have a place to go. Like, I have 4 kids, blah, 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 blah. The day that I called the lady to explain everything, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry if I'm confusing you guys, but I was using my brother's address when he lived for this housing for Section 8, because you have to have address in Bucks County. So I was using his address, and his landlord that was there would receive the mail and wouldn't give him the mail if it had my name on it. So it was like a whole situation. So like I said, when I was going to call the lady to let her know, like, listen, I don't have a place to stay. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, this guy is, like, I was telling her, like, the guy isn't giving me the mail. Like, I don't know what to say. And she goes, and every time I talked to her, like, she seemed pretty, like, she was mean. Like, she was, like, stern. Like, okay, well, listen, like, she deals with this all the time. But when I called her that day and I was explaining everything to her, everything, the whole situation, she goes, she didn't say anything. This is all she said. Okay, well, I send out the paper and you have your appointment tomorrow to pick up your voucher. It's tomorrow. So make sure you're here by 8. Once again, God, all God, all God. I could have missed that. I could have missed it if I had not called that day. I could have missed it. My appointment literally was the next day. And I called and she told me, she just said, okay, come in and get your voucher. So I went and got the voucher. And I went and got the voucher. And the house I'm currently living in for been 4 years now. The people I called, because they give you a list that you call, and I called and they said, well, call back on this day because we're not sure if they're going to move out, but they're supposed to, but call back on this day. And it's so hard to find a house. It's so hard. Even though you have this voucher, it's so hard because not everybody accepts it. So I was like, okay. So I put a reminder in my phone. I call all these other houses and nothing. So the day comes and I call and I go, hi, my name is blah, 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 blah. And I'm just checking. And she goes, yo, I remember you. I remember you, your voice. I remember your voice. She goes, yes. He goes, yes. The place is available. Yes. Come and see it. Yes. It was just yes. And I'm just like, it was amazing. It was just like I could breathe. Like I could breathe. I could breathe. So we get here, get the house, we move in, get the kids situated, still living with my son's father. I get pregnant with my son. We have him, all is good. One incident I remember is I went to a church in Philly. We were going to this church in Philly. My son's father wasn't a believer at the time and brought him to the Lord. And we went to this church where my cousin goes in Philly. And I remember we walked in and this lady comes and she walks over to us and she goes, listen, I don't know what it is, but when you and your family walked in, the Lord, there was such a light over you guys. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, wow, like, amen. So we sit down and the first sermon we went to, he was talking about how people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And that always stuck with me. That always stuck with me. I don't know why, but it always stuck with me. A reason, a season, or a lifetime always stuck with me. So continue going on, go to church here and there, whatever. Let's fast forward. Okay, now I get in. We go to the church here where I live at now, and my mom went there first, so then we went with her, whatever. And at this time, we're there going to church. The pandemic happens, and I get hurt at work. So me being hurt at work, I am now on workman's comp, so I'm home. And this was September the pandemic started in March. So that happened. So when the pandemic started, I was already home, but I was already seeking the Lord. I don't know. There was just something that I needed to seek him. I was seeking him. I was searching for him. I was reading the word. I was praying. I would go on this live, and I met somebody from on there. I felt like the Lord just said, link up with her, like get her information. So we started talking, and she's from Connecticut. And we started talking, and it was just, I needed her and she needed me at that time. And I would just ask her to like help me pray. And then at this point, I wanted to do things right. I didn't want to be just in a relationship. I wanted to be married. I didn't want to sin anymore. I felt like the Lord was just calling me deeper and deeper and deeper. And so, I mean, there's so much more. Like, I would get on these lives, and these prophets or prophetesses or whatever the situation is just started prophesying over my life and just saying how the things that I'm going to be doing for the Lord. And I remember there was this one time where the Lord had put Elijah on my heart. And this is the Lord's, he started speaking to me like a lot, just speaking like I've never, just started speaking, and he put the name Elijah on me. So when he put the name Elijah, I'm like, Elijah, like I didn't know anything of it. I'm just like, okay, didn't know what he meant, didn't know like what he was trying to say with that. So I left it alone. A couple months down the road, I get on this live, and she's like, oh, does anybody want prayer? I was like, oh, like I could always use prayer, me over here. So I got on, and she starts praying, and she goes, oh no, she didn't start praying. She goes, I get on, I'm like, hi, how are you? She goes, oh, what's your name? And I said, oh, my name's Ilysa. They were like, how do you pronounce it? Because I don't know. My name is spelled weird. It's Ilysa. So everyone, I always get like Ilysa, Ilysa, never Ilysa. So I'm like, oh, it's Ilysa. And she goes, oh, okay, well, nice to meet you. Where are you from? I told her. And she goes, the other lady that was on there goes, let me say something. And I have the video. I saved it. I don't know if there's somehow I can like link it on here. I don't know. I figured all that out. But she goes, when you said your name, I heard the word Elijah. And my eyes opened up, because for months I didn't know why the Lord said Elijah to me. And he goes, and then she proceeded to say, like, you are the prophet that I called. You are the prophet. And just like was going on, and I'm bawling my eyes out. And she goes, and you think and she's like, the Lord hasn't forgotten about you. In the next 5 months, which the end of the 5 months would have been December of last year. So that this last December would have been the 5-month mark. The Lord is going to be moving within the next 5 months. I was like, yes, like, thank you, Lord, like, hallelujah, like praising the Lord, whatever. So that happened. So a little more, I'm down the line, and so once again, I'm praying the Lord, like, I want to do this the right way. Like, I need you to show me, like, am I supposed to marry my son's father? Like, because I always knew it was between either him or Joel. Like, I always knew there was always something in me that just knew. So I went on a fast, and I had my friend that I met in Connecticut help me fast for this. And I'm talking to my aunt about it, and she asks me questions, and she goes, well, do you feel peace with your son's father? And I was given excuses. I was like, well, in the beginning it was good, like, but blah. I kept saying but she's like, no, like, do you have peace with him? And I couldn't answer it. So that night I called my son's father, or I called Joel, and I'm talking to him. And that peace that my aunt asked me, I felt with Joel. I just felt like it was just like, and my eyes were just like, they opened up, and I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. I know what you, like, oh my God. So I called my aunt and I'm telling her, I'm like, I feel, because I'm like, Didi, I don't know if it's with him or with him, but I just know that I need to get right with the Lord. And I know that I have to, whatever I was saying. And I'm like, I know what you're talking about. Ask me if I feel peace with Joelle. She asked me and I said yes. So at this time, my friend's still helping me pray. And the next day, I'm sitting there and I'm out with my mom. And I feel like the Lord going like this to me. And he's like, go change the PIN on your card, my bank card. And I'm like, what? Like, I just kept hearing that. I'm like, what? Change? What? Okay, whatever. So I pushed it to the side and kept going and kept going. Go change the PIN on your bank card. So I was like, oh my, okay. So my mom was, I'm like, Mom, I have to go to the bank. Like, I need to change my PIN, whatever. Went there, changed my PIN. I didn't check anything. I just changed my PIN. I'm like, all right, thank you. And then went home. That night, I had to go to my my uncle's funeral. So we were taking the baby, my son, to his grandmom's house. So we were leaving my house at 8:55. We stopped at Wawa to get a drink, and at the time my son's father didn't have no money on him. We get to the Wawa at 8:55 I said, and then I go in, get what we needed, and then came back out, and he goes, oh, I want to go check if they have like a cheese pretzel, because I asked him if he wanted anything. He said no. And then he was like, I'm gonna go check if they have a cheese pretzel. I'm like, okay. Mind you, he didn't have money. So I'm sitting back down. I get in the car, I'm sitting down, and then the Lord goes, check your purse. Check your purse. So I went in and I checked my purse and my card was gone. So I went, I'm like this, like, okay. Not a minute later did this man walk in the store. He walked right back out. But when he walked out, his face was like he was like so confused, like, wait, I know her information. Like, why did, like, what's going on? Like, that was the type of face he had. So he's freaking out. He was like, I was like, where's your cheese pretzel? Like, he's like, oh, I didn't get it. I'm like, oh, like, do you know where my bank card is? Like, I lost it. I can't find it. I just put it in here. He goes, oh, no, I don't know where it's at. Maybe you dropped it. I said, no, I didn't drop it because I just cleaned my purse out. So I'm calm because I know he took it at this point. Like, I know. So I'm sitting there and we're driving and he looked at me. He goes, there's something wrong. The Lord is telling me there's something wrong with you, because I'm like, no, I'm fine. What are you talking about? He's like, well, do you want to go back home to see if you left it there? I said, no, it's okay. We can keep going, because I knew I changed my car. I knew I changed the number. So I knew no one was going to get into it. So the next day I'm laying down. He goes, oh, you should call the bank to get a new bank card, because so whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to call. I'm definitely going to call. So he's standing at the door and I'm calling. I said my name, give him my information. He goes, oh, you were just here yesterday to change your PIN. I said, yeah, I think I lost it. Like, I can't find it. So she goes, and I'm like, is there any way that you can tell me the last time it was used? Mind you guys, I didn't use it because I just got it. And she goes, oh, of course. So when I said that, he, I guess, nervously screamed out the door and yelled my mom's name, like, Mandy. Like, it was so awkward. Like, why are you calling her for? So that happened. And then she goes, well, yeah, it looks like somebody attempted to use it at the Wawa and such and such lane. That told me the street name where we were. And they attempt to take money out at, remember, we got there at 8:55 and I went in, did what I had to do, come back out. Then he went in 9:02. Somebody tried to take, and it was only attempt one time. Mind you, I said he came right back out. I was like, okay, thank you. So I looked at him, I said, do you have something to tell me? And mind you, I'm saving money for my daughter's quinceañera, okay? So I was saving money. So I had a bunch of money in my account. And he goes, no, I didn't take your card. What are you talking about? I would never do that, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But when I finally went to check my account, there was like $300 at a time being taken out for weeks. And it took me to fast, to really just really give my all to the Lord and just say, Lord, I'm here. I'm surrendering everything. I want your will to be done in my life, not my own. I want you to show me what I need to do, who I need to be with, where you want me to go. Like, I am ready to do your will. So please, here it is, laying it all at your feet. So you do with me what you will. That was my prayer. That was my prayer. The next day he answered it. And from that moment on, it went downhill with me and him. And we were fine, and it went downhill. It went downhill from there. And and then the Lord just started speaking to me about Joelle. And I'm over here hearing what the Lord is telling me and then getting prophesied over. And then, like, it was just so much. And I'm telling Joelle, like, listen, the Lord wants me and you to be together, and this, that, the third, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. And it happened. It happened just like the Lord said it was going to happen. But it wasn't easy, because even though I knew that the Lord wanted me to be with Joelle, my heart, I guess my flesh, still wanted to be with my son's father. My flesh. My heart, because I know God wanted me to be with Joelle, but my flesh was still calling my son's father. So it was like weeks and weeks and weeks, and Joelle was like, didn't want to come, and he did want to come, and then like his family's saying like, oh, she's just gonna hurt you again, or whatever they were saying. So it was messing with his mind. But like, I knew what the Lord said. I knew what he told me. I just knew. I knew the Lord was gonna make it happen. But there was times where I doubted, because it wasn't happening, and it just like wasn't going as what I thought. So it was like the very last, down to the last minute. He called me on a Thursday and said he was gonna come. Like, he was like, it's time, I'm coming. Like, I'm just like, because I didn't think he was gonna come. So I was still like talking to my son's father, and then I was just like, okay. And I felt like that needed to happen, because I don't know, man. All I'm saying is, like, the Lord knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing with everything. Like, he has everything planned out for our lives. It's just a matter if you're going to submit your life to him. It's only a matter if you're going to say, all right, Lord, I'm done doing it my way. I'm done doing it my way. I'm now going to do it your way. I'm now going to let you do with me what you will. And that's what I said. And that's what he did. So he came, we got married in November. And mind you, that the prophetess told me within the next 5 months, the Lord was going to move. And he moved. Joelle came. He proposed to me. We got married November of 2020. So the Lord definitely did speak to that lady and told me. And now I never knew how much I never knew how I was supposed to be loved. I never knew what love was until I got back with Joelle. He is such an amazing person. He's such an amazing person, an amazing father. His love is so genuine. His love is so true. He doesn't love me because of my body, or he doesn't love me. He loves me for me. And like, oh my God, I can't even explain to you what I feel with this man. I literally cannot even explain to you. This whole time I'm searching for what I thought was, I'm searching for love. I'm searching for something to fulfill the emptiness that I had in me. And this whole time it was Joelle. This whole time it was Joelle. Let me just tell you. I know the Lord. I know I went through all of that for a reason. I know I went through all that for a reason. And I know that everything I went through, I just know it was for a reason. And I know that something is going to come of this. And look, it already is. Me and my husband are back together. We are back together, and we are in it. This time around, the Lord's in the center. This time around, the Lord is in the center. The Lord is in our lives. The Lord is directing our lives. Like, I should just do a video of everything the Lord had said to me and it come to pass. Like, and like, I don't even know what to say. Like, I am in awe. I am amazed. And it's so crazy because if you would have asked me this a couple, like maybe a year ago, if I was to, would you ever get back with Joelle? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But let me tell you something. When it's the Lord's will, when the Lord tells you you're going to be with somebody, or when the Lord says something, it's going to happen. And how you think you feel is going to change. Listen, the Lord knows what's best for us. He knows what's best for us. And I'm just upset that I did not listen sooner. Oh my God. Like, I have no words. But I guess we'll tell you more when Joelle and I reunite back together and tell you what's been happening since we've gotten back together, and where the Lord is taking us and what he's doing with us. And it's only good things to come from here. And it's because we have the Lord on our side. It's because we made him the center of our lives. It was a hard road. It still is hard. But the only thing different this time around, like I said, is we have the Lord. And we're doing it his way, not our way. His way is the best way. His way is the only way. We wouldn't have got this far. I wouldn't have came this far if I didn't start listening to the Lord and living my life for him. I wouldn't have got this far. And now I'm married with my family. He took my children in as his own. And it's us against the world. There's no going back. That is my husband. I don't have to sit here and explain anything to anybody. But that is my husband, and I'm not going anywhere. He is not going anywhere. And we're only going to move forward from here, because the Lord is not done with us yet. He is not done with us yet. Not done with me, my husband, or my children. Nope. So like I said, it's only up from here. So when we get together and we tell you what the Lord is doing now and what's coming, like I said, I left a lot of stuff out, but that was just like main. And maybe I should have wrote things down, but I just felt like I had to get on here and just talk and tell you guys, like, just show you what the Lord is really doing, because he is moving. 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 And he is speaking like never before. Like never before. So I just want to be obedient and bring this testimony out. And maybe down the line, if I remember more, like, I'll do another video of things that I left out, but I definitely want to do like I want to call it like a confirmation video, to where the Lord spoke to me or spoke through me and it was confirmed. And maybe I'll show you the videos that things were being prophesied over me and how it came to pass. Like, I don't know. There's just so many things that I want to say. But right now, it was just to get my testimony out. And I'm sorry it's all over the place. I'm sorry it's 2 videos again. But I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I didn't want to be... I'm working on it, guys. So, thank you so much for taking the time out to listen to part of my testimony and experiencing that chaos that I went through with me again. So if I can get out of that craziness and my eyes were open to know that the devil had a hold on me, bad, like bad. And now I can tell you how we can overcome that and what we can do to overcome it. And listen, there's more to come. There is more to come. So thank you for tuning in and listening and just listening to my craziness and all over the place. But anyway, thank you so much. Our next video would be Joel telling his testimony, and then it will be us together on where we are now. God bless you all. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.